Hello everyone. In this session, I would like to discuss about leukemia clinical manifestations and diagnosis. So, leukemias clinical manifestations, that is the signs and symptoms associated with different types of leukemias. So, with the acute leukemias, with the chronic leukemias, and subsequently the acute lymphoblastic or acute lymphocytic leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia, and similarly chronic lymphocytic and chronic myeloid leukemias. And about the diagnosis, of leukemias, the acute and the chronic. So, in the last previous class, we have discussed that leukemia can arise due to malignant transformation of a stem cell. The hemopoietic stem cell, if it undergoes malignant transformation due to any of the etiologies, the normal cells get replaced with the cancer cells, with the leukemic cells here in this condition. This malignant transformation can occur because of varied reasons and processes, among which there can be either abnormal proliferation, there can be clonal expansion, mainly if the lymphocytes are involved. The cancerous cell may undergo clonal expansion to produce the clones or the similar cells of its kind in large numbers. Or the one more typical feature of cancer cells is diminished apoptosis. So there is a cell death process, the programmed cell death known as apoptosis, which can be diminished in the cancers, so which allows these malignant cells to survive. Further, in either acute or chronic leukemias, these leukemic cells can occupy different sites of the body, can further suppress other blood cell formation, and thus the clinical manifestations can develop. So, now let us move into the clinical manifestations in some more detail. Now, acute leukemias have different set of clinical manifestations, and there are certain differences with the site involvement, with the manifestation in case of the chronic leukemias. Now let us see what are the signs and symptoms of acute leukemias. So acute leukemias refers to a condition where the life expectancy or the severity of the disease is not much compared to the chronic ones, and the common difference between the acute leukemias and chronic leukemias, not only the duration of illness but also the existence of immature cells is more in number in case of acute leukemias. Although there is an exception that in chronic leukemias, the chronic myeloid leukemias, immature lymphoblasts may be overproduced, and also the mature cells can be overproduced. Mature malignant lymphocytes may be overproduced in case of chronic myeloid leukemias. But specifically in case of the acute leukemias, the lymphoblasts the immature, poorly differentiated cells or the precursors of the leukocytes, the lymphoblasts, increase in their number. So the signs and symptoms of this acute leukemias can develop from days to weeks after malignant transformation. So the acute leukemias manifestations can begin from days to weeks after there is the malignant transformation or change of the normal cells into the cancerous cells. The initial set of symptoms appear because of a suppression of normal blood formation, because of infiltration of the leukemic cells into other sites such as the bone, lymph nodes, or it may be involving the kidneys or liver. Sometimes the CNS involvement or meningeal infiltration can occur, or even there can be gonadal infiltration sometimes. So broadly, acute leukemias signs and symptoms develop within days to weeks after malignant transformation, and initially the symptoms and signs are representative or are indicating the following conditions. So initially there can be anemia, thrombocytopenia, and even other cells, other granulocytopenia, especially the neutrophils may be involved, hence this is also known as the neutropenia. Granulocytopenia or neutropenia can also occur. So let me neutropenia and organ infiltration by the leukemic cells, by the cancerous cells. Now, because of anemia, various manifestations can occur. So, when there is reduced hemoglobin percentage in the affected individual, that is in case of the anemia, there can be further reduced red blood cell count as well. So the person with anemia can be with the sign pallor or pale appearance of that person can be one of the signs for anemia, and others fatigue, pallor can occur because of anemia, or generalized weakness can occur. And also, because of anemia, person may experience even shortness of breath or sometimes tachycardia as the manifestations. And thrombocytopenia is a reduction in the platelet count. So normally from 1.5 to 4.5 lakhs is the normal range for the platelets. So when there is a fall in the platelet count less than 1 lakh per cubic mm, then the reduced platelet count can lead to increased bruising, increased bleeding. So increased bruising, increased bleeding. So bleeding of the mucosal membranes can occur. Bleeding of the gums can be one of the manifestations. Or in case of women, there can be irregular menstrual bleeding, or the increased menstrual bleeding in case of the thrombocytopenia, or other internal organ bleeding. Sometimes in case of severe thrombocytopenia, even the intracranial bleeding may occur. And in case of granulocytopenia or neutropenia especially, the polymorphonuclear cells, these are the cells which first appear at the site of inflammation or at the site of injury as a process under the inflammation or as a part of the innate responses or innate immunity. So if the neutrophils are reduced, the chances of increasing infection can be seen in the patients. So increased infection rate can be seen because of a fall in the neutrophil count, neutropenia, or granulocytopenia as a whole. So the person becomes prone for the viral, bacterial, fungal, or other kinds of infections if there is neutropenia. So these are the manifestations specific to the neutropenia. And organ infiltration, as you have listened till now, the leukemic cells can infiltrate or permeate into other sites of the body, such as the bone marrow, kidneys, liver, spleen, or the lymph nodes. So the organ infiltration can lead to enlargement of those organs. So here is an enlarged liver which I have depicted. So if there is leukocyte infiltration, because all this is a blood-borne disease from the bone marrow, and again the so formed abnormal leukocytes, abnormal cancerous cells, by hematogenous spread or through the blood, it can spread to distant sites of the body. So because of the bloodstream infection, or it's not the infection here, because of the bloodstream circulation, these leukemic cells can enter to different parts of the body, different sites of the body. So here is an example of the liver. So wherever it becomes infiltrated, there can be enlargement of that organ, enlargement of that site. So because of these specific signs and symptoms may appear, like the abnormal liver enzymes here in this case, or diminished physiology, or abnormalities in the normal in the functions of that particular site can occur. When it is a meningeal inflammation or meningeal infiltration with the leukemic cells, the cranial nerve palsies, or because of increased intracranial pressure, headache can also occur. So it is specific to the site. So organ infiltration can also be seen in the acute leukemias. The main difference between acute lymphoblastic leukemias and acute myeloblastic leukemias is that there is lymphatic or the lymphocyte progenitor which undergoes malignant transformation in case of the ALL, which is most common in the children. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia cases can be seen more commonly in the children. And acute myeloid leukemia or myelocytic leukemia involves the myeloid precursors or myeloid cells from the stem cell. So this can be further differentiated by various laboratory investigations, which I will explain further. The one exceptional difference between the acute lymphoblastic and acute myeloid leukemia is that the organ infiltration is less common in case of the acute myeloid leukemia than in the acute lymphoblastic or acute lymphocytic leukemia. Otherwise, all the clinical manifestations are similar in case of the acute leukemias. And one of the manifestation because of the thrombocytopenia, as you can see, easy bruising, bleeding can occur. So there can be even purplish or red colored tiny spots on the surface of the body, which are referred to as petechiae, or the larger collection of bleed can be seen as a spot, as a rash on the skin, or as the purpura, or more specifically, in case of leukemia, the rash which occurs on the skin. So if the skin is involved, it is referred to as leukemia cutis. The skin manifestation because of leukemia, where there is appearance of rash on the skin in leukemia patients, is referred to as the leukemia cutis. So the leukemia cutis is common in case of the acute leukemias compared to the chronic leukemias. So this is also one of the term which you can remember. Now, moving on to the chronic leukemias. Chronic leukemias. The chronic leukemias are more severe compared to the acute ones, and most of the chronic leukemias have the mature leukocyte involvement. Either it may be a lymphocyte, or either it may be a myeloid progenitor cell, but the mature forms are more involved in this chronic leukemias. Only in case of chronic myeloid leukemias, the overproduction of immature forms or the blast form can also be seen. Now, in chronic leukemias, also there are similar clinical manifestations with a few exceptions in the chronic lymphocytic leukemia and chronic myeloid leukemia, basis on their where the site is the basis for classification. So here the lymphoid, lymphatic, lymphocyte involvement, here the myeloid cell is involved. Now the clinical manifestations which are general for the chronic leukemias include, so this chronic leukemia can be with the non-specific signs and symptoms initially, so unlike the acute leukemias. So non-specific signs and symptoms, often the undetected ones, the chronic leukemias are often undetected, undiagnosed forms, where there can be even an inactive stage where the patient may be asymptomatic for months to years in the chronic leukemias. So initially you can remember asymptomatic phase. So from the asymptomatic phase, non-specific signs and symptoms such as fatigue. So non-specific ones include fatigue, weight loss, or abdominal pain. So mainly the splenic involvement can be seen in case of chronic leukemias, that too In case of chronic myeloid leukemias, the splenomegaly is common. So it can be moderate, or sometimes extreme splenomegaly can also be seen in case of the chronic myeloid leukemias. So because of that, abdominal pain can be one of the feature. So the abdominal pain mainly occurs at the left upper quadrant. So you might have known the abdomen can be divided into 4 quadrants, where if the spleen is involved, the splenomegaly can be the reason for the manifestation. That is the left upper quadrant fullness or abdominal pain. So most commonly it can be the abdominal pain, or it can be the abdominal fullness which is experienced at the left upper quadrant, where which shows the position of the spleen or abdominal fullness. The left upper quadrant. So apart from this, anorexia, nausea, night sweats, can also occur as a non-specific symptom. So in case of the chronic lymphocytic leukemia, greater than 50% of cases show lymphadenopathy. So where there is a disorder of the lymph nodes, the lymphatic system, relating to the lymphatic system. So the lymphadenopathy, or it can be also said as the abnormal enlargement of the lymph nodes, can be either localized lymphadenopathy or generalized lymphadenopathy. Localized lymphadenopathy involves only one specific lymph node, usually the cervical. So usually the supraclavicular lymph nodes or the cervical lymph nodes are involved, may be involved in the lymphadenopathy, the localized lymphadenopathy. Generalized lymphadenopathy can involve various sites, various lymph nodes of the body. So lymphadenopathy is one of the features of the chronic lymphocytic leukemia. In case of chronic myelocytic leukemia, or chronic myeloid leukemia, same, the non-specific symptoms or the asymptomatic phase can be seen, but specifically the pathogenesis or pathophysiology of CML can be divided into 3 phases, which I will explain. So after this, so let me say this 3 phases. So the CML pathophysiology can be divided into 3 phases. So one is the chronic phase, 2 is a progressive or accelerated myeloproliferation phase, and the blast crisis phase. As I said, blast cells are overproduced in CML. Blast crisis phase can be the last phase. The chronic phase usually lasts for months to years. So it may also take 5 to 6 years for the signs and symptoms to show up, or for the disease to become active in case of the chronic myelocytic leukemia. And also one of the main uh, reason or main finding for the chronic myelocytic leukemia in the chronic in the CML patients is the Philadelphia PH chromosome. So this is one type of chromosomal translocation which I will explain. So remember, the Philadelphia chromosome is one of the reason or cause behind the CML. So the inactive or indolent phase, which usually lasts from months to years, may take about 5 to 6 years. So this is the inactive phase, represents the chronic phase of CML. Followed by that, progressive or accelerated myeloproliferation can occur. So this may further produce the abnormalities in the blood cells. So there can be accelerated anemia or progressive anemia or progressive thrombocytopenia in the patients, or progressive granulocytopenia or worsening disease condition, treatment failure. So all such aspects can be a part of the second phase, that is accelerated myeloproliferation phase. And the third phase is the blast crisis, where there is further uncontrolled proliferation of the blast cells. So most of the complications, organ infiltration and severe manifestations occur in the blast crisis, because the amount of blast cells will be overproduced. They will be circulated throughout the body, infiltrating various sites of the body, and thus the manifestations depending upon the affected site can be produced. Coming to the Philadelphia chromosome under the chronic myelocytic leukemia. So usually the Philadelphia chromosome refers to the, so this is about the CML, refers to the BCR ABL component, which is a BCR ABL molecule, which is commonly detected in case of the chronic myelocytic leukemia. So what is this? There are translocations. So this is chromosome 9 and this is chromosome 22. So one part of the chromosome 9, one piece of one small part of the genes, from which is the ABL part of the chromosome 9, gets translocated with the BCR part of chromosome 22, which is referred to as the Philadelphia chromosome. Because of this reason, with this genetic translocation, the transformation or the malignant transformation of the leukocytes can occur because of this particular chromosomal translocation. So you can remember this as a under the pathophysiologic process of the chronic myelocytic leukemia. So this was about the clinical manifestations of acute leukemia and chronic leukemias. Apart from the following manifestations, other specific manifestations can occur uh, depending upon the processes involved, which are which can be remembered as the miscellaneous clinical manifestations or other manifestations of leukemia, such as hyperuricemia or increased uric acid crystals, uric acid within levels in the blood, and hyperphosphatemia, or abnormal potassium levels in the blood. Hypokalemia or hyperkalemia can occur, and increased lactate dehydrogenase is also one of the features. Hypoglycemia may also occur. Hypoglycemia, these are other manifestations of leukemia. Now, coming to the diagnosis, coming to the diagnosis of leukemia, we will see acute leukemias first. As you have seen the clinical manifestations, diagnosis can be made by the CBC. The complete blood count can give an image of various blood cells, the levels of RBCs, WBCs, the differential leukocyte count, and the hemoglobin percentage, platelet count can be known by the complete blood count. And sometimes peripheral smear examination of the blood, peripheral smear. So complete blood count, peripheral smear. Bone marrow examination. Bone marrow examination and also the histochemical studies, immunophenotyping studies, and cytogenetic investigations. So histochemical, so if the tissue specimen or biopsy is done, histochemical or histologic analysis is nothing but the biopsy of the suspected site. So histochemical studies, immunophenotyping, and cytogenetic studies. Cytogenetic study is mainly useful for identifying the chromosomal translocations. So, cytogenetic studies. More specifically, if there is CNS involvement, so the computed tomography of the brain may be required, or CNS examination, there can be lumbar puncture done for CNS involvement. So the bone marrow examination is one of the main investigation for differentiating between the ALL versus AML. to see the type of cell involved. And for the acute leukemias, there is one more clinical staging criteria for the acute leukemia diagnosis, which I will explain. Rye and Bennett staging. Rye and Bennett staging for ALL, for acute lymphocytic leukemia, is one of the criteria. So the Rye staging is one of the classification of ALL under 5 stages: stage 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in the stage 0, it is characterized, the condition is characterized by increased lymphocyte count or lymphoblast count. So there is lymphocytosis in stage 1. So what is the count? Lymphocytosis greater than 1 lakh lymphocytes per microliter. So this is about the circulating lymphocytes. And in the bone marrow, if there is greater than 30% of the lymphocyte involvement, yes, this is under the stage 0. And stage 1, so stage 1 involves the stage 0 features, along with the hepatosplenomegaly. And stage 2 involves stage 0 plus anemia, so that is less than 11 gram per dl of the HB hemoglobin. Just a minute. So in the stage 1, excuse me for this thing, in the stage 1 there is stage 0 plus 1 lymph nodal involvement, lymph node enlargement. And in the stage 2, stage 0 plus hepatosplenomegaly. In stage 3, there is stage 0 plus anemia, or the above features and anemia. So here less than 11 gram per dl of hemoglobin can be one of the features. And here stage 0 plus thrombocytopenia, that is less than 1 lakh per cubic mm of platelets. this is the right categorization or classification. So stage 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Where stage 0 there is lymphocytosis greater than 1 lakh cells per the cubic liter, per the microliter, sorry, and there is greater than 30% lymphocyte count in the bone marrow. So in the bone marrow, so I am representing BN. If there is greater than 30% of lymphocytes, it's under the stage 0. Stage 1, similar to the stage 0, but with the lymph nodal involvement, lymph nodal enlargement. In stage 2, 0 plus hepatosplenomegaly, enlargement of the liver, enlargement of the spleen can be seen. And stage 3, there is ensuing anemia with the stage 0, in thrombocytopenia in the stage 4, along with the features of stage 0. Moving to the Bennett classification, Bennett staging. Here Bennett staging can be into three: A, B and C. So Bennett staging, stage A, there is greater than 30% of lymphocyte count, more than 30% of lymphocytes in the bone marrow can be seen, greater than 1 lakh per cubic per microliter of blood or circulating lymphocytes can also be more. Lymphocytosis can be seen in the stage A, and hemoglobin percentage is normal, or you can say it is greater than 11 gram per dl. 11 gram per dl, and the platelets greater than 1 lakh per cubic mm. This is stage A. And stage B is similar. So here there can be less than 2 sites involved. So less than 2 sites of the lymph nodes. So this represents the lymph node involvement, either the cervical or supraclavicular lymph node involvement, or less than 2 or 2 lymph node involvements can be seen, only 2 sites. In case of stage B, the similar features can be observed, but there are 3 to 5 sites involved. 3 to 5 lymph nodal involvement can be seen in stage B. So the severity increases from A to C. So you can sense the sites involved is the only difference between A and B. Whereas in the stage C, there may be the more generalized lymphadenopathy. Along with that, the counts reduce. So here the hemoglobin percentage and platelet count can reduce in the stage C. So the lymph node site is similar, but the HB percentage is less than 11 gram per dl, and the platelets less than 1 lakh. So this is about the Rai and Bennett staging of acute lymphocytic leukemia. Coming to the chronic leukemias, also require the CBC and peripheral smear, and bone marrow examination, and cytogenetic testing, RT-PCR, are more specific here. Cytogenetic test and also RT-PCR. The Philadelphia chromosome can be identified by the cytogenetic test for the CML in most of the cases, but some of the patients may require RT-PCR for the more specific detection of this BCR-ABL component. And immunohistochemistry may also be useful in detection of certain specific molecules in the leukemia, in the chronic leukemias. So today in this session we have discussed about the clinical manifestations, about the diagnosis of various types of leukemias, and the staging criteria of the acute lymphocytic leukemias. So apart from the clinical evaluation, apart from the clinical examination, the following tests, following diagnostic criteria may be used. Thank you.